And I don't know if you want to maybe just tackle one at a time, or what would your suggestion
yes,
be?
I think we would tackle the one action near-term action item on the mayor in May. If we decide, do we want to pursue that, or
do you want to tackle that one first? Or
let's tackle that one first.
Okay.
Any comments?
I do.
Mr. Omar?
I'd be happy to start. I think clearly the city's been, blessed, and we've done a really, really good job with our mayors, and we've been very fortunate to have a series of really great leaders. And I think that, the thing that's probably made this a bigger issue in recent times has really just been the way residents interact with us. And I think, those who have been on the council a lot longer, if you asked maybe John Murphy or Gary Slagle, they'd probably tell you that, when they first started on council 20 years ago compared to their last 2 or 4 years, there was a dramatic difference in how much citizen input, whether it was text messages or Twitter or people were emailing them. Many of those things obviously didn't even exist early in those careers. And so I think we see more and more resident input to us, and I think that we see voters all over the place that just want to have a little bit more say in the way certain things go. And I think that clearly, to me at least, extends to the selection of mayor. One of the things that really shocked me in my first election in 2009 was the number of times that I got asked when I was running for city council, the number of times I got asked who I was going to vote for mayor. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, because really what I wanted to do was talk about, why I'd be a decent council person. But the focus was really on something that it was the only way that resident could control it, was to ask who you were going to vote for mayor. And in some cases, I would go so far as to say that there were some people, whatever the number is, that voted for me or voted against me based on who they thought I was going to select as mayor at that time. And I just think, quite frankly, it's a desperate situation that people find themselves in when they have to vote that way. But it's the only way that they can have a say in the mayor's seat, essentially, when it's all said and done. And, I guess thankfully it worked out for me. But in the end, I'd much rather see our residents be able to speak directly to who they'd like to see as mayor, as well as be able to select council members based on the merits of the council person, and not based on what the very first decision that council person is going to make, a week after their election. I'm just going to add one more thing here, and then I'll stop, and if maybe there'll be a chance to say a few other things. But I do think that this is a dramatically more competitive environment today than it ever has been before when it comes to the different cities. We see that with the way companies are looking at relocations and incentives and everything else. And I think that back when we first did this in the early days, when we chose this form of government, I think it made a lot of sense because it was kind of a ceremonial position. And it was something that really came down to just someone that could run the meeting and hopefully do so efficiently. And I think the difference now is that you see that that when you do have an opportunity to have that, if you had a mayor's election, you would have the ability to actually vet the candidate specifically as mayor, as opposed to, let's say, looking at a council person and who they're running against and thinking who the best council person would be. You don't have the ability today to kind of look at someone and say, okay, which of those two would be the best mayor, or 4 or 5 or however many people were running for the position. And yet we get to do that in every other elected position. So from my perspective, I think the value of vetting someone to be the mayor really would like the opportunity and will take that opportunity however they find it, even if it means selecting the council person that they think might select the mayor that they like. So with that, I'll kind of sit back and listen to what everyone has to say, and we can go from there.